Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, San Diego Gas and Electric makes another multi-million-dollar settlement in connection with the 2007 wildfires.
Plus, judicial races are typically uneventful, but the competition for seat 25 is pushing the envelope. We'll have more about the candidates in just a moment. And we'll have an in-depth conversation with two of the 100 San Diego delegates who descended on D.C. to tackle looming federal budget cuts and their impact on San Diego.
And we'll show you how a program for young offenders is helping to reduce the high school dropout rate for Native Americans. KPBS Evening Edition starts now.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Erwin Jacobs and by
Hello, good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dwayne Brown. San Diego Gas and Electric is paying $6.4 million to the federal government to settle claims from the Witch Creek fire in 2007. SDG&E's power lines were blamed for starting it. The settlement covers damage to federal land and the government's cost for fighting the fire. The utility is also paying more than $50 million to settle claims with the city and county of San Diego. A federal appeals court has overturned the conviction of a man prosecuted in San Diego for smuggling migrants into the U.S. Apparently, the government deported a witness who might have helped the man's defense. Our Fronteras reporter, Adrian Florido, is following the story. He joins us from the news center. Adrian, tell us about the circumstances of this man's arrest and conviction.
Well, his name was Jonathan Leal del Carmen, and he was arrested in March of 2010. Border Patrol agents arrested a group of about a dozen migrants that they caught trying to cross the U.S.-Mexico border into California. And they also arrested two men who they suspected of being those people's smugglers. During the course of their investigation, they interviewed several migrants, some of whom said that this man, Leal del Carmen, was their smuggler, and one of which, a woman, who said that he was not. As they were preparing for trial, they ended up using the testimony of these three migrants who said that he was, in fact, the smuggler, and they kept them in the U.S. in order to do that. But they deported the woman who said that he was not responsible. He was ultimately convicted of the charges.
And what did the federal appeals court say about the way the government handled this case?
Well, the court said you can't do that. You can't selectively deport witnesses who would give testimony that would not be favorable to the argument that you're making. The judge also faulted the U.S. Attorney's Office and the local federal judge for not allowing the jury to see the testimony that this woman who said that this man was not responsible had given to a Border Patrol agent, in which she basically said no, he wasn't the guy. So the judge basically overturned the conviction and told the local district judge here in San Diego that he had to decide whether to dismiss the charges against this man or allow him to be retried with all of the evidence that was relevant being admitted to be considered by the jury.
And where do we go from here?
Now it's up to the judge to decide, what he's going to do here locally, whether to allow this man to be retried or whether these charges are going to be dismissed.
Adrian Florido with our Fronteras desk. San Diego Marines trained to rescue Americans from mob violence are now on the way to the Middle East. The Peleliu Amphibious Ready Group left today. The Pentagon says sailors and Marines assigned to the group just finished special training on extracting civilians from hotspots. Well, the cost at the gas pump in San Diego has fallen 5 days in a row. The average for a gallon of regular unleaded is $4.13. That's about 2 cents less than a week ago. AAA says the 5-day streak of lower prices is the longest since mid-July. Pedal power is one alternative to driving. Today, Mayor Jerry Sanders unveiled a proposal for a bike rental program. The bikes would be available at trolley stations and bus stops. Sanders says San Diegans want a more bike-friendly community.
This is the park. They're also asking to take public transit, and this provides that solution when you get off a bus or a trolley to be able to rent a bike to go that last mile, so we think it's exciting.
Denver and Chicago already have a rent-a-bike program. One day after the San Diego Chargers retired number 55 linebacker Junior Seau was voted unanimously into the San Diego Hall of Champions, foregoing the normal vetting process. Seau was a hometown hero who grew up in Oceanside and graduated from USC. He spent 13 years with the Chargers and tragically took his own life in May. Seau will be inducted into the San Diego Hall of Champions in February. 100 San Diego delegates went to Washington, D.C. last week to talk about the effect of impending budget cuts on our region. Peggy Pico explains what was accomplished.
The delegates from San Diego and Baja California came from public and private sectors. They talked with federal officials and politicians about the local impact of federal budget cuts set to take place at the end of December. My guests tonight were part of that delegation, San Diego City Councilman Todd Gloria and Ruben Morales, president of San Diego Regional Chamber of Commerce. Welcome you both to Evening Edition. My first question, Todd, to you is 100 delegates. It sounds like a lot. How come so many?
We want to leave an impression. But what we did is we really had a great cross-section of San Diegans, people from the private and public sector, both sides of the border, both sides of the aisle, all advocating one message on behalf of the San Diego region, which of course is concerned for our economy and jobs.
And you say both sides, people came from Baja. Tell me who came as far as the mayors. Who came?
Well, we had Mayor Jerry Sanders there and his counterpart, the mayor of Tijuana, mayors of the city of Encinitas and Imperial Beach, half of our city council, all of us really weighing in to make sure that our federal legislators know how important federal issues are really to our community.
All right. And Ruben, one of the main focuses was the proposed 10% budget cuts to military. Who did you talk to on that, or who did the delegates talk to, and what was the outcome of that?
Well, we walked the halls of the Pentagon during our trip, and we met with a number of Pentagon officials from the Navy, the Marines, the Secretary of Defense's office as well, and basically to state the case that San Diego is a great home for the military. If there are reductions, that we think that San Diego could accommodate those reductions from other areas and assimilate them very well. We have the highest concentration of military personnel in the United States here in San Diego. 1 in every 4 jobs in San Diego is related to the military or benefits economically from the military investment here. So it's very important for us. I think we were able to state the case with Mayor Sanders, with Todd, with Supervisor Roberts and others in the Pentagon, along with business executives, basically stating the case that the military is important here and we're going to do what it takes to keep that presence here.
And some of those 1 in 4 jobs are, of course, the money being spent at restaurants and other places in town.
Yeah.
Todd, if these Bush-era cuts, if this actually goes through, what will be some of the impact, predicted impact here on San Diego? The military, we've heard. What else?
I think it'll be profound. Certainly the jobs that are supported through direct defense spending, but in other sectors of our economy. I paid a visit to the Housing and Urban Development Department, where they too are facing these large cuts, and those cuts are to programs like Section 8, where we have 15,000 San Diego families who receive housing assistance. If that's cut, how are they going to be impacted? Our homeless services programs, our transportation expansions that we have in mind that are funded through federal dollars, all are on the table and all are at risk if Washington doesn't come together and find a bipartisan solution.
You mentioned transportation, trolley service, but also, Ruben, I wanted to ask you, what about the border? There were some border issues very specifically that came up.
Well, it was one of our major issues was to make sure that the San Ysidro border crossing is adequately funded. Our federal government on the U.S. side has funded 1 of 3 phases. The Mexicans have just about completed the entire renovation of the San Ysidro port of entry. So we were there really to make the case for funding for Phase 1 and Phase 2, which will truly decrease the border wait times, create more efficiency, and we've seen through studies with Caltrans and Sandag that will lead to more investment and more job creation on our side of the border.
And how did they respond to that?
Very well. As a matter of fact, we're going to bring together federal officials here into San Diego, bring them to San Diego, show them the border, and make the case for this funding that we hope fiscal year 2014 will be a good year, and we'll be able to get that project moving forward.
It's fantastic that San Diego is on the map in Washington in the sense they know who we are. You actually went to the Smithsonian and talked about Balboa Park.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, you know, the Balboa Park is the Smithsonian of the West, and so we wanted to visit with the Smithsonian Institution to get their interest and buy-in in our centennial celebration in 2015. Met with the Assistant Secretary there, saw some great collaborations that are possible, and I think as a result of the meeting that Mayor Sanders and I had with them, we're going to see some exhibits actually come in 2015. So it's an exciting time. You know, we're of course concerned about the cuts, but there's some other things that we can do that are a little more forward-thinking, a little more visionary to bring wonderful attractions to our citizens.
All right, there's so much more. We've run out of time. I know you talked on homelessness. In a word, how would you describe the trip?
Very productive.
And you?
Great success and a lot more work to do.
All right, let's hope so. Todd, Gloria, and Ruben Morales, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They enlisted in the Marines and fought during a time when our country was resistant to racial integration. These brave African Americans trained at Montford Point during the 1940s, paving the way for men and women of all races to serve in the Marine Corps. Tonight we hear from two Montford Pointers who live in Oceanside and were recently honored with the nation's highest civilian medal. They were among the nation's first black Marines who came from the North and South to train when the country was sharply divided along racial lines.
Because of your color, and only because of your color, you had to go segregated places. You go to the movie, you had to go upstairs or sit in some corner someplace. If you wanted to buy food, you had to go around to a little window, and they might get around to taking care of you if you stayed there long enough after they've served all the whites. Despite the racial tension, 88-year-old Oscar Culp says he would blaze the trail again if it improved the plight of black folks. You think back of the time that you went through so that you could have the same freedom as everybody else. That was a disaster, really. From 1942 to 1949, approximately 20,000 African-American men joined the Marine Corps. They got their boot camp training at Montford Point near Jacksonville, North Carolina, a segregated camp of wooden cardboard huts where they braved a variety of threats, from the swagger sticks of tough drill instructors to snakes, mosquitoes, even bears. In many cases, they were challenged a lot harder than their white counterparts entering the Corps at the same time. George Mitchell spent 32 years in the Marines, serving under 15 generals. I've had good duty, I've had bad duty, and I've had unpleasant duty. Although Mitchell was promoted several times, he never made the rank of officer. But yet, I knew how to cope with the bad duty. I knew how to do the good duty. I knew how to do it well enough to know that this bird over here, who is a bird and he's not done right, hey, give the job to Mitch, he'll get it done. And I said, hey, so that's the way the system works. I said, you don't have to be white to get it done. I said, you can be black and do it. I said, but you don't have room for mistake. The Montford Point Marines didn't make many mistakes. They served during a critical point in our history, fighting in some of the bloodiest struggles in the Pacific: Saipan, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa, Japan. Some died, but many others continued to serve in Korea and Vietnam. Now, 70 years after they entered the Corps, the Montford Point Marines were finally rewarded this summer with the Congressional Gold Medal, the nation's highest civilian honor. When Mitchell and Culp enlisted in the Marines in 1942, there were no black officers. Today, there are several black generals in the Corps, not to mention a black commander-in-chief. All thanks to the Montford Pointers, who paved the way for other minorities and women, too. And every time I see a general, especially a colonel, I just say, well, we did all right. We did all right, yes. I feel good. Oscar Culp and George Mitchell have been in business together for nearly 50 years now. Their furniture store in Oceanside serves primarily military families. Judicial races are usually pretty low-key. Candidates for judge have special rules of decorum or judicial canon of ethics, so there's no mudslinging allowed. But
The competition for seat number 25 is heating up. Investigations producer Joanne Farian tells us about the candidates.
The two candidates are a lawyer in private practice and a longtime prosecutor. One candidate, Jim Miller Jr., is rated by the County Bar Association as lacking qualifications. The other is Bob Amador, and he is rated well qualified. This might seem a little like deja vu. Gary Creep, a constitutional lawyer, was also rated not qualified. He won a judgeship in the June primary, defeating a prosecutor, Garland Peede, who was also rated well qualified. He is also a key member of the so-called birther movement. Creep told KPBS he's not sure whether President Barack Obama is a U.S. citizen. Since that race, several members of the established legal community have rallied behind one of the candidates for seat number 25. 55-year-old Robert Amador is a longtime deputy district attorney.
I've been a prosecutor for 29 years, and I've been keeping this community safe for that period of time. And I'm now in a position in my career where I want to take it to the higher level.
He led our cameras into one of his fundraisers recently. In attendance, the who's who in law enforcement. And while it's unusual for judicial candidates to give the media access to events like this, those attending this fundraiser say the stakes are unusually high.
Superior Court judges can take away people's children. They can sentence defendants to death.
I think the last time I was here was for a fundraiser for Garland Peede, and I'm as guilty as probably a lot of us in this room for taking that race for granted. And we saw what happened. We can't let that happen again.
Along with an illustrious guest list, Amador also boasts a long list of endorsements from high-profile Republicans and Democrats, including San Diego Mayor Jerry Sanders, Assemblyman Nathan Fletcher, and San Diego City Council member Todd Gloria. Amador's opponent is Jim Miller. He is a 42-year-old attorney.
16 years in private practice. There's 5 areas of law that our courts cover in San Diego County. I've practiced in all 5 in my experience, most heavily in family law, but even more heavily in civil litigation.
Miller also allowed our cameras into one of his fundraisers. It was the Thursday before Labor Day, held downtown at the Bristol Hotel. Just about 10 people were there. They really weren't the judicial movers and shakers like those attending Amador's event, but they were no less enthusiastic about their candidate.
I think the misnomer that so many people have is that if you carry a designation as a deputy district attorney, you're already anointed because you have the understanding of the law. Well, if you do your research, so many deputy DAs have maybe one, if any, areas of the law that they truly understand.
Miller comes from more conservative corners than Amador. His list of endorsements include Tea Party groups, including the Chula Vista Patriots. He's also endorsed by several elected officials, including Escondido Mayor Sam Abed. And he has support from Senator Russell Pierce, author of Arizona's controversial immigration law, SB 1070. Pierce spoke on Miller's behalf at a fundraiser in Oceanside this past April. Joining me to talk more about these candidates and how the Bar Society rated their candidacy is iNews Source reporter Ryan Grohowski. Ryan, thanks for being here. Now, I know you spent a lot of time researching both these candidates. Tell us more about Jim Miller Jr.'s experience.
Sure. He's a civil attorney, and he believes he has more diverse experience. He's practiced in all 5 areas of the county court, which is civil, criminal, juvenile, family, and probate. He was also a fill-in judge for the past 4 years, but this past spring he was removed from the list of rotating judges. Now, Miller says he doesn't know why he was removed, and the court won't tell us why either.
What can you tell us about Robert Amador and his experience?
He has been a deputy district attorney for the past 29 years, so his experience is obviously in criminal law. He believes, though, that experience is enough to carry over to any civil cases he might preside over.
Now, we know judicial candidates are supposed to run a pretty clean race, no mudslinging allowed, but there's been some innuendo regarding the La Raza Lawyers Association. What happened?
Well, La Raza Lawyers is the Latino Bar Association in San Diego County, and they've endorsed they've endorsed Amador in this race. Now, Miller has said in the past that this organization is tied to a Mexican nationalist group, which Amador and people from the La Raza Lawyers have said is not true. And Miller has said, though, that he was mistaken in those remarks.
We know Amador is rated well qualified by the San Diego County Bar Association, whereas Miller is rated as lacking qualifications. Do we know how the association arrives at these ratings?
We do up to a point. The bar puts together a committee of about 20 judges, retired judges and lawyers, and then they look at questionnaires filled out by the candidates and also filled out by other members of the legal community. They also interview the candidates. Then they come together and vote on a rating for each candidate. Now, they evaluate on 19 different criteria, and if a candidate is lacking in just one, that could give them a lacking qualifications rating.
Okay, Ryan Grahowski, I know there's so much more on our website, kpbs.org.
The high school dropout rate for Native Americans is almost twice the national average. Educators in Flagstaff, Arizona are trying to turn it around, and they've had some success at a juvenile detention center. Most of the kids who wind up there are Native American. We can't show you most of their faces because of their age, but Fronteras reporter Laurel Morales can share their stories in the first part of a two-part special report.
This is my cell right here. It's a little bit bigger than the other cells. That's because this one's a handicapped one, but I like it.
When Jay was caught doing meth at 15, he says he couldn't see past the drug.
I loved it. I loved everything about it. It was like the greatest rush I ever felt, all in one bowl, you know. I loved that I didn't have to eat. I loved that I didn't have to sleep. When the person that caught me said I looked half dead, and I remember telling her that she should have let me die because I didn't see my life clean.
At the time of the filming, Jay was clean. Jay, who didn't want to use his real name, has been 1.5 years in treatment and has been in and out of juvie. When he was first locked up, he weighed 108 pounds. Now, almost 18 and clean, he weighs 160 pounds.
I'm very nervous because I know the addiction is still in there, and I don't want to disappoint myself again. I always see myself doing good, you know. I always see myself, all right, this is last time, and then usually it ends up with me back doing it again.
And back in detention, but he's turning 18, which means if he's caught again, he'll be thrown in with adults.
Yeah, I want to be successful in life. You know, I want to make money the right way. I don't want to fail. I want to go to college. I want to finish high school first, go to college, and I want to be a paramedic because I want to help people. I look healthy. I look happy. You know, they see me. The staff that's been here, they know how bad it was. I'm doing this for me, you know? It's my life. This isn't how I want to be. You know, so I got to make the change for myself, and then I want to start helping other people change. Because I've been there and I've done that, you know? I'm one that can say, you know, I know how hard it is.
When arrested, kids go to school inside the jail. Teachers there give students a lot of individual attention.
Taped it and then put the capsule on top. Paper and pencil tests and exams don't work well. Hands-on works really well. So if you look around, it's rather than give them a quiz or a test, they have to build projects and explain those.
The students range in age from 10 to 17, and there are often 2 to 5 grade levels below their peers. But here they don't have many distractions.
No one's yelling at them, no one's beating them, there's no threats.
The staff often uses the term stabilized. They're sober, their needs are met, they don't have to worry about food, shelter, or clothing, so they're able to focus on learning. Holloway says most of these kids have had negative experiences in school. They didn't get the attention they needed, or they weren't identified for their needs, or they weren't recognized for their strengths.
Most of the time they're returned to the environment that created that behavior in the first place. But you know, it's from a physics perspective, it's approach it like a vector. So they're on one trajectory, and hopefully we can bump them enough. So they're similar, but hopefully enough bumps, and we've turned them. So it's going to be the centimeters on this one too. even though the little
Juvenile sentences are only a few weeks, so the staff has a small opportunity to make an impact on kids. But when they leave detention, many do stay in school. In fact, 80% are more likely to graduate, according to detention records.
What do you hope they walk away with?
the confidence and the knowledge of knowing that they can learn. That's probably our number one, is to turn them back on, maybe not to school, but to learning.
When you turn 18.
Once the kids...
In tonight's Public Square, a few comments about our overview of key propositions on the November ballot. In regards to Prop 30, Governor Brown's temporary tax initiative that raises sales tax by 1/4 cent and raises income taxes on those who make more than $250,000 a year. From our KPBS website, Astrofan wrote, "I love the line title Prop 30 was given, temporary taxes to fund education." They continued with, "Yeah, right. First, politicians will do everything they can to make the taxes permanent. Second, the money goes to cover pension shortfalls, not to the children." DG asked me about a statement I made when talking about Prop 37, the initiative that would require labeling of genetically engineered food. They wrote, "I was very confused when I heard you say organic food can be genetically engineered. Is that really true? And is it all that common? This is beyond confusing to me. It's shocking. It is a bit surprising." I sent a few links to DG that may help sort things out. USDA regulations prohibit artificial engineering, for instance, DNA modification in organic food, but because cross-pollination between GE and organic crops can occur naturally, say from the wind, organic products can and sometimes are genetically altered. You can join in this conversation or comment on any other KPBS story by following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, or email us at publicsquare@kpbs.org.
Thanks for joining us. You have a great night.